Hi everyone, my name is Leah Schnee and I am the founder of Sports Support. I'd first of all like to thank you for your time because I'm extremely excited to share my insight into the process and hard work that went to making my organization possible. First of all, Sports Support is a not-for-profit organization based in Philadelphia that is solely focused on improving the mental health and well-being of student athletes. Over the past 4 months, we have been dedicated to creating a smooth transition between coaches, teachers, and athletes in schools and independent based sports teams to ensure the happiness of student athletes. To meet our agenda and exceed my initial expectations of what the company should look like, I spent the last 4 months researching countless articles on mental health pertaining to student athletes, collecting primary data from my classmates, and asking for the advice of my peers, teachers, and family to create an in-depth job description for a sports psychologist. While crafting this proposal, I was keen on making sure that every single student athlete is receiving the proper attention, education, and nourishment to their psychological and physical needs. After researching what the sports psychology programs were like in local schools, I discovered that there is no program like this in any Interact school, which is SCH's athletic league, nor is there a program in most universities, no matter the division, around the Philadelphia area and in the entire United States. A little background on me is that I'm a 16-year-old sophomore here at SCH, and this is my first year attending. I knew from the beginning of my time here that CEL could give me the resources and opportunity I needed to make a positive difference in my communities. I play competitive soccer and basketball and take all honors classes. I'm in multiple clubs, including Women in STEM, Political Activism Club, Eco Club, and Alliance, which I will be the head of going into my junior year. I'm passionate about this topic because I care about the well-being of others and completely understand the hardships of being a student athlete, especially with the rigorous course loads, external pressures, fear of failure, and many other stressors that go into it, like injuries. I could not play the sports that I love for 13 months this past year, from March 2021 to April 2022, due to an injury, and I genuinely believe sports support has the potential to help student athletes navigate rough times. After this school year, I plan to continuously expand my organization past the SCH community into other Interact schools, local independent sports organizations, and maybe even NCAA programs if I have the chance. Addressing the problem. In a shocking statistic from the NCAA, in most cases the rates of mental health concerns were up 150% to 250% higher than historically reported by NCAA student athletes in the American College Health Association's National College Health Assessment. A similar statistic from ACSM states that only 10% of college athletes with no mental health conditions seek care from a mental health professional. Meanwhile, 30% of women and 25% of men who are student athletes report having anxiety. After initially reading that statistic in January, I knew that I needed to bring a trained professional into institutions that deal with student athletes because it's unacceptable for anyone to be struggling alone, especially with their mental health. One of the biggest issues pertaining to mental health is a normalized mental health stigma in society, especially in the media. The definition of mental health stigma is societal disapproval when society places shame on someone who lives with a mental illness or seeks help for emotional distress, according to Medical News Today. At Sports Support, we want to break the stigma and are working to create a healthy environment where student athletes feel like they can speak up about how they are feeling without exterior judgments. Primary data. On April 4th, 2022, Ms. Fry kindly sent out my 18-question Google form to the entire upper school student body, as seen on screen. I used about 2 or 3 hours of my spring break time to analyze the data and integrate it into the initial stages of my job proposal. The form's purpose was to get real responses from my classmates and understand their experiences as student athletes. The results were overwhelmingly positive, and I got lots of great feedback on how to customize the proposal to fit the needs of the people around me. After spending 4 months on it, I wrote 26 pages of a job proposal. I spent hours reading through each free response of this form and wrote 3 pages worth of analysis defining what certain responses meant pertaining to my organization and the job proposal. This can be found under page 10, coined Notable Responses. The picture on screen is a screenshot of 3 entries off my App Studio's Google site, where I logged my progress throughout the semester. In addition to creating this form and collecting and analyzing data, I used the time out of class to speak with 3 key administrators here at SCH. My first meeting was with Ms. Fry, one of the upper school psychologists at SCH, who expressed her own interest in the idea and was an amazing help throughout the entire process. I felt like I could ask questions about my proposal comfortably while getting great feedback. My second conversation was with Mr. Wilson, SCH's athletic director, who was also extremely interested in my idea and a great collaborator. While Ms. Fry gave the psychological expertise perspective, Mr. Wilson gave an athletic expertise perspective. Using their ideas, I could formulate the type of person I want to hire in my job description. Finally, I spoke one-on-one with Dr. Drugan, the head of SCH himself. His ideas were intriguing, and he was similarly excited about the potential of my idea. Using the expertise of these three amazing people, I was able to cater my ideas to the SCH community while using perspectives from research I read online. The screenshot shown above me is taken directly from the statistics of my Google form that I sent out. The question was, do you experience any of the following, followed by a list of symptoms that people may be experiencing relating to their mental health. I received 41 responses. It is absolutely unacceptable that 70% of the people answering the form experience performance anxiety, alongside the 75% of them who experience fear of failure, and 50% of them experience mental burnout, lack of sleep, lack of motivation, body image issues, and mental blocks. Our organization is absolutely crucial to improving the well-being of every single student in our upper school. This is our solution. Through Sports Support, we are going to implement a sports psychology program, and if the students participating think that it is beneficial through the first initial year, then we will keep it and try to expand towards other Interact schools and hopefully beyond. As I mentioned before, I wrote a 26-page job proposal for a sports psychologist or sports psychology firm to be hired into the SCH community. The job of the sports psychologist is to teach cognitive and behavioral strategies to athletes in order to improve their experience and performance athletically, academically, and mentally. In my job proposal on page 17 called Defining the Qualifications, I listed crucial ideas to who we want to hire at our school. Some of these qualifications include someone who holds a strong and impressive character. For instance, this includes good morals, a deep level of expertise and knowledge pertaining to sports psychology, and a lot of experience with kids, as said by Dr. Drugan. Additionally, Ms. Fry and Mr. Wilson would like to work with someone who can manage colleagues assisting with the course, create material that would apply to different age groups and skill sets such as JV versus varsity, apply content learning from training and game observation to their material, manage athlete participation in class, and facilitate. In the next coming weeks, I am extremely excited that I will be presenting my job proposal to Dr. Drugan, Ms. Fry, Mr. Wilson, and maybe other administrators who are willing to listen. During that initial conversation, I asked Dr. Drugan, what do you want to see in the job proposal when I give it to you at the end of the semester? He asked me to create two models for who can be hired, one being a full-time sports psychologist and the other being to hire a sports psychology consulting firm to bring in different numbers of sports psychologists throughout the school year. In the end, I created 2 pages worth of logistics for how much it would cost to hire a full-time sports psychologist and what it would be like to hire a consulting firm. On the other hand, I also went through all of the pros and cons of each one and researched different people who we could possibly hire within the next school year. While one of my biggest goals is to get the Sports Support Sports Psychology program implemented into SCH by the 2022-2023 school year, my biggest goal is just to improve the well-being and mental health of my classmates and the other people in my communities. If you are simply interested in the idea or have any questions, you can reach out to my email, lschnee@sch.org, or you can follow me on Instagram at SCH Sports Support. Thank you all again for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful night.